One drop of venom can paralyze an entire platoon, but this major soldier ant charges headfirst into the strike zone anyway. Deep within the humid floor of the Amazon rainforest, sunlight pierces the dense canopy in narrow golden shafts. The forest floor appears calm, but beneath the leaf litter, an empire moves. A column of 200,000 army ants marches in terrifying military precision. At the tip of this advancing spearhead stands a major soldier ant. Her massive hook-shaped mandibles are built for one purpose alone: absolute destruction. There is no permanent home for this nomadic legion. Their queen requires massive amounts of protein to sustain her egg-laying cycle, and time is running out. By noon, the tropical heat will turn the rainforest floor into a scorching furnace. The swarm must hunt now, or the entire colony faces starvation. Every second matters as the vanguard sweeps across the terra firma. The vanguard detects a heavy chemical signature in the air. A scent trail leads straight toward a rotting mahogany log. Concealed within the dark bark rests a formidable titan of the undergrowth, a giant Amazonian scorpion. Armed with a thick chitinous armor and a venomous stinger, the scorpion is an apex killer of the micro-world. To any single insect, this creature is a walking death sentence. Yet the army ant vanguard does not hesitate. The major soldier ant signals the front line, and the swarm launches a full-scale invasion. Thousands of workers surge over the log in a chaotic black tide. The scorpion raises its massive pincers and strikes, crushing dozens of advancing workers in seconds. Several ants fall in the line of duty, making the ultimate sacrifice for the swarm. But behind them come thousands more. What happens next changes everything. The scorpion thrashes wildly, swinging its lethal tail into the dense swarm. Venom drips onto the damp leaf litter, neutralizing wave after wave of attackers. But the major soldier ant moves with calculating precision. She dodges a heavy pincer strike and lunges directly for the joint of the scorpion's front leg. Her hook mandibles lock onto the soft membrane, biting down with terrifying force. She has no idea what is waiting beneath the rotting log. The scorpion reacts with blind fury, dragging the clinging soldier ant across the rough bark. More major soldiers join the attack, targeting the sensory hairs and leg joints of the giant predator. An army with overwhelming numbers spreads over the titan, biting every exposed gap in its armor. The scorpion realizes it cannot fight off this relentless tide on open ground. It begins a desperate retreat into a dark, narrow fissure beneath the mahogany roots. She doesn't know the real threat is still coming. The major soldier ant refuses to let the prey escape. Guarding the next generation with their lives, the swarm pours into the dark subterranean fissure after the retreating beast. The air inside the root matrix grows thick with moisture and musk. As the vanguard pushes deeper into the narrow tunnel, the scorpion turns to make a final stand in the darkness. Inside the claustrophobic root chamber, the rules of engagement shift instantly. The scorpion presses its back against the solid wooden wall, eliminating any chance of a rear flank attack. Its massive pincers snap with bone-crushing power, instantly severing the legs of 3 advancing frontline workers. The tight space prevents the army ant column from encircling their quarry in open formation. The major soldier ant climbs onto the ceiling of the root cavern, maneuvering directly above the scorpion's armored head. Drip by drip, acidic alarm pheromones fill the humid chamber, signaling reinforcement calls across the forest floor. Outside, thousands more army ants pour into the root mouth, forming a living conduit of chitin and muscle. But the underground chamber holds a hidden danger. As the scorpion thrashes against the roots, the heavy vibrations disturb another ancient resident beneath the soil. Deep within a silken subterranean trapdoor, a massive funnel-web tarantula awakens. Sensing the tremors of 2 rival forces tearing into its territory, the arachnid prepares to defend its lair. The major soldier ant drops from the wooden ceiling, landing squarely on the scorpion's sensitive eyes. She buries her curved mandibles into the soft ocular tissue, unleashing a blind surge of agony across the giant's nervous system. The scorpion thrashes frantically, swinging its heavy tail in a wide arc. The venomous stinger strikes the major soldier, pinning her against the earth. What happens next changes everything. Despite the lethal sting tearing through her midsection, the major ant does not release her grip. She makes the ultimate sacrifice, holding the giant killer in place while the swarm floods over the immobilized monster. Hundreds of army ants bite into the membrane surrounding the stinger, severing the nerve cluster controlling the scorpion's primary weapon. She has no idea what is emerging from the darkness. Suddenly, the earthen floor gives way beneath them. The silk trapdoor of the subterranean tarantula bursts open, exposing a cavernous pit below. The scorpion and scores of army ants tumble directly into the spider's lair. The giant tarantula strikes with lightning speed, burying its fangs into the scorpion's side. A three-way battle for survival erupts in the pitch-black chamber. The army ant swarm does not pull back from the abyss. Instead of retreating, the army ants launch a ruthless counter-offensive into the spider's pit. The new predator finds itself surrounded by an unstoppable tide of biting mandibles. The battle for protein has transformed into a brutal war of attrition inside the dark earth. So what does the vanguard do next? The army ants divide their forces with terrifying tactical efficiency. One battle group pins the struggling scorpion, while another swarm engulfs the giant tarantula's hairy limbs. The air grows hot and suffocating as hundreds of bodies struggle for breathing room. Outside, heavy dark clouds gather above the Amazon rainforest canopy, threatening a sudden shift in the environment. Deep inside the silken pit, the three-way battle reaches a violent fever pitch. The giant tarantula thrashes violently, using its heavy pedipalps to crush incoming attackers. But army ants do not feel fear. They process only the relentless imperative of the colony. Hundreds of minor workers swarm over the spider's soft abdomen, sinking their jaws into venom glands and sensory organs. The paralyzed scorpion, trapped beneath a suffocating blanket of biting chitin, slowly succumbs to hundreds of micro-incisions. Its armor, once an impenetrable shield, is now torn open at every joint. Muscle tissue and high-value protein are harvested in real time by specialized worker ants who begin carrying the first trophy fragments back toward the tunnel exit. She doesn't know the real threat is still coming. High above the Amazon canopy, the sunny skies vanish behind heavy black storm clouds. A sharp crack of thunder echoes across the tropical rainforest. Within seconds, a sudden tropical torrential downpour slams into the forest floor. Large raindrops, each heavy enough to crush a worker ant, hammer the leaf litter in a deafening assault. Water cascades down the trunk of the mahogany tree, funneling straight into the subterranean root entrance. What was once a secure dark fortress quickly transforms into a lethal drowning trap. The loose soil inside the subterranean cavern begins to dissolve into a thick, swirling slurry of mud. What happens next changes everything. As muddy water pours into the pit, the remaining army ants face an impossible choice. The giant tarantula, overwhelmed by venom and physical trauma, finally collapses into the mud. Its dynasty ends in bloodshed beneath the earth. But the rising floodwaters threaten to wash away the thousands of army ants and the paralyzed scorpion before the harvest can be completed. Will the vanguard abandon their hard-won prize to save themselves? Surrender is not coded in army ant DNA. Rather than fleeing, the workers launch a desperate race against the clock. Hundreds of major soldier ants lock their long, hooked legs together, forming a living architectural bridge over the fast-rising mud. This organic bridge allows worker ants to haul heavy chunks of scorpion meat upward out of the drowning cavern. The water level inside the root pit rises by inches every minute. Muddy currents sweep away dozens of workers, washing them into the dark depths of the forest floor. But the major soldier ants hold the line with unbelievable physical strength, anchoring their claws into solid root bark, despite the crushing pressure of the floodwaters. So what does the vanguard do next? As the main root chamber completely fills with churning rainwater, the living ant bridge begins to sway. The workers carry the final piece of high-value protein up into the higher root network above the floodline. But the major soldier ant who anchored the base of the living bridge remains submerged underwater, struggling against the raging current. Submerged beneath the churning brown floodwaters, the major soldier ant fights against the suffocating current. Her hook mandibles remain locked onto the subterranean root like an iron anchor. With a powerful burst of physical effort, she flexes her 6 legs, pulling her body upward against the rushing water until her head breaks the surface into the humid rainforest air. Around her, thousands of army ants execute their ultimate survival maneuver. Rather than drowning individually in the flash flood, the workers lock their legs and jaws together in a tight, hydrophobic lattice. Within seconds, a living, floating raft takes shape on top of the rising water, riding the surface tension of the Amazon deluge. What happens next changes everything. Positioned safely atop the living raft, the workers preserve their precious cargo, high-protein bounty from both the defeated scorpion and the subterranean tarantula. As the storm passes and the torrential rain slows to a gentle drizzle, the floodwaters drain away into the porous Amazonian soil, leaving the living raft resting safely on damp leaf litter. The vanguard reassembles its military formation without losing momentum. Carrying the heavy protein bounty, the column marches back toward the bivouac where the queen waits. This victory was paid for in blood, but it ensures the colony will thrive for another cycle. Deep within the living fortress of the bivouac, the queen consumes the rich protein, fueling the production of thousands of new eggs. Within weeks, a new generation of major soldier ants will emerge from their cocoons, armed with the same deadly hook mandibles, ready to march across the forest floor. One sting can paralyze a titan, but no single predator can withstand the collective force of an unstoppable empire. As the tropical sun breaks back through the jungle canopy, the endless march continues. Somewhere else on the Amazon floor, another war is about to begin.